4, 3, 2, 1, go. Hey guys, Ryan New Pro of commentary. This is going to be the second set in the Winners League playoffs. The, I suppose, quarterfinals or the first round of the Winner League playoffs. Cal has taken the first set for STX Soul. This is, of course, between STX Soul and the Woongjin Stars. Cal has taken the first set with a smile on his face right there. Playing against Sulky. Neo G Sulky. Sulky? Soul Key. That is Soul and Key. And this is going to be on Roadrunner. We had Cal at the, I believe, the North as the protoss player, and we, I believe, had Sulky at the East as the Zerg player. I'm going to get right back to, yeah, right there, as the Orange Zerg, I believe that is, at the 2 o'clock, and then 11 o'clock, we have Cal in purple. I must say, I am very, very surprised by this choice on behalf of Woongjin Stars to send out Sulky. They start off by sending out MVP, which I already found a bit of a surprising choice, sending out one of their lower-tier players, definitely. But now they're sending out Sulky, who is a very new, promising player. He hasn't played much at all, but what he has played, he's shown some very impressive stuff overall. He's played very little, though, so very little to actually, you know, go by on his behalf. But Cal, a very experienced veteran player, plays well under pressure, does not allow pressure to take hold of him, and is going to go for the Forge Fast Expand, while Sulky is going to go for an overpull build. So at the very least, he's going to force Cal to put down a couple of cannons to make sure he's well defended. This is Roadrunner, fairly balanced map overall, ZVP as well. Hasn't really been played that much on it that, you know, there are full numbers in so far, but it is a little bit favored towards Zerg on this map. And it is some people are saying it is a bit of a destination clone, but I find that there are less bridges that are actually, you know, bridges that affect the situation as much. So at the very least, however, I still think that lurker, using lurkers to hold in your opponent to his natural expansion is still going to be very useful. Let's see whether Cal is going to be a little bit irritating, tries to how long he manages to delay that expansion from Sulky. Sulky, at the very least, fighting a little bit back with that drone, trying to put down a hatch, actually following the drone at this point, trying to get enough shots off. On the opposite side, we see the Forge up right now. Yeah, okay, finally gets the hatchery down, but definitely got some Zerglings out there. He's going to go around and put some pressure. 2 cannons now up for Cal. But yeah, with Soulcat, I mean, if you're going to go for a Zerg to face up against the Protoss, I felt Zero would have been a more natural choice, perhaps Quanro as well, but definitely Zero, I feel, would have been a slightly more natural choice. He is a very, very good Zerg versus Protoss player, but, you know, at the same time, not... I feel this is probably a very specific coaching decision because you want to train up your younger players to be able to handle the pressure of these kind of situations. And Sulky just needs to be able to play at this level. They're already one behind. That's really the biggest reason why I'm a little bit surprised by it. But, you know, maybe he has very specific strategies for this map, knows exactly what he's doing. Maybe he did very well in training. He is putting down his 3rd hatchery at that 4 o'clock. And is going to attempt to... still not quite managing to surround that scanning from Cal, but at least preventing him from getting too further out. He's getting an extractor. On the opposite side, we see Cal does have his Nexus on the way as well, alongside his gateway. So very standard fare so far. We're just going to see 3 hatch Zerg against Forge Fast Expanding Terran. That's general Forge Fast Expanding Protoss, pardon. So nothing altogether weird so far happening. Wondering whether Cal just going to go for standard. He is more of a ground type army guy against Zerg, and mostly against overall. I generally see him preferring to use a ground army. If he goes for air, he doesn't go for Sarah Reaver very often, but that's actually a good thing for him because whenever he does go for it, it generally surprises guys. Hey, there's a white guy with I'm guessing a Korean girl. Way to go, dude! But maybe she translates stuff for you. That'd be awesome. Lair on the way now for Sulky. And just overall, really looking forward to see how he reacts to this. It is a bit of a pressure situation for him. Cal, the more experienced player, the more seasoned veteran. I'm not quite sure, but I think he is one of the oldest players on STX Soul alongside July Zerg. I think July Zerg is probably the oldest active player in the roster, who actually got himself into the MSL this season yet again, round 32. That's a big hooray for him and a big hooray for July fans. Let's hope for a good performance from him. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit off topic. Cal's still being very annoying with that scouting program, but I really approve of that. I was talking about how he does tend to does tend to go for ground armies, does tend to go for heavy zealot armies, you know, supported by auxiliary troops as always, Archons, Templar, trying to sneak that probe by, but finally gets it picked off. But always, though, Cal does have full scouting, sending out a early zealot as well, putting up his Citadel of Dune and Stargate. Well, all the names of everything are just freaking stuck in my head. Like, all the terms that you generally use for StarCraft are like, eh. So let's see, there's a probe and zealot. Maybe Cal was thinking of, hey, maybe I can catch someone off guard and pick off a drone, but instead he's going to lose a zealot and a probe. Just some zerglings managed to pick up another one. There's not a zealot coming in to support him. Oh, not quite managing to save his first zealot, but at the very least manages to do more damage than he would have if he hadn't sent that second zealot out. Additional production hatcheries now coming up for Sulky alongside Aspire. I've never actually seen Sulky play, I believe. I might have seen one game, but I'm not altogether sure. Initial Corsair is going to be coming up for Cal very soon, and I really don't think this is going to be, the Bisu build. Generally, players just don't use the Bisu build straight up. They just don't, because Zerg players are always ready for it. They have Overlord, generally have Overlords at every location. If they don't, they'll scout it out somehow, because Protoss players tend to like, hey, I have a Dark Temperer halfway to a dude's base, which is undefended. I'm going to go rape some probes. Before that, I'm going to let him know I'm coming by killing a few Zerglings that just happen to be out here on the field. It's kind of weird, I know. But Zerg players are generally a lot more prepared for SimCity. You know, the way they put their buildings make it very hard for Dark Templars to get through, even with the support of Corsairs. And they generally have a lot of Hydras out there to protect against them. Hydra's Den is now up, adding in an Evo Chamber alongside creep colonies for those sunken colonies to react to the DTs, because you saw what buildings are going to be coming up. Scourge out there is going to see whether Cal actually manages to save this Corsair or not. I think it's going to be, I think it's in line to run towards those cannons before anything else. Second Overlord going to be picked off, though. The scouting Overlord inside of Cal's main. So Sulky is going to lose 2 Overlords. Oh! That was a strange decision there for Cal. He actually, almost to the safety of his cannons, he decided to turn around and take a couple of shots at the Scourge. I'm not quite sure why he decided to do that. Maybe thought he had enough distance, enough in a decent position to do that. Maybe to prevent a scout. Maybe he did that. I'm going to sack this Corsair to prevent a scout, but he got some Scourge in anyways, edgewise, so it doesn't really matter. So 2 second colonies at each base. That's an interesting position. He's maybe afraid of the Zealots running in. There's not many. I didn't see a single DT, and he only produced 1 Corsair for scouting purposes, so definitely not going Bisu build. Very late Templar Archives for Bisu build, so DTs would be out already for the Bisu build. Meanwhile, he did add in quite a few gateways, so he's just going to be pumping out a ground army as he likes to do. He's also the kind of Zerg player, the Terran player, Protoss player. Dear God, that was horrible. He's also, I think I'm just talking too fast. Maybe, just maybe. Definitely, I think he's the kind of Protoss player that sometimes, not all the time, but he's one of those players that tends to produce enough Corsairs. When he produces Corsairs, he doesn't just produce 2, in this case, he produced only 1. He either produces 1 Corsair, go out, scout, try to pick up as many Overlords as he can, and then, leave it alone. I think he might have produced 2. I'm not altogether too sure. But he generally, a lot of Protoss players tend to produce a decent number, but not quite enough, like 3, 2 to 3. Cal either produces 1, maybe 2, or 5, enough to go around and start killing something. Scourge still going around, spotting the robotics facility coming up. That's most likely going to be for observers, just for the lurkers that could possibly be on the field to support those Hydras soon enough. 1 Zealot going to come in through, take a couple of shots from the second colonies just to act as a spotter. 1 Zealot going to come out to follow it, but that's going to get picked off. Cal has those 6 Zealots out there just pushing. He has a couple of Archons ready as well. Has speed legs on those. Not quite sure if he has weapons. Yeah, it does have weapons one at this point, but just can't penetrate the positioning. Ooh, 1 Scourge that began picked up by an Archon. Questioning his build a little bit here. A couple of phonon cannons at each base. For Cal. I'm not quite sure whether he's expecting a tech switch. But there aren't really that many Hydras out in the field, but I think he is getting a second evolution chamber out now. I think that Sulky is going to go. He's adding more production hatcheries. I think he's definitely going to go for heavy Hydra. And I think Cal's lurkers out in the field as well. I think Cal's thinking, finally, see the Hydras there. I think I'm repeating myself the third time now. I think Cal is thinking of trying to break the front. He has quite a few Zealots and a couple Archons. He's thinking of using that to attempt to break the front. It is going to be a bit tough, especially as soon as the lurkers come out. The observatory is ready, but he needs to get some observers out there before he can use the utilize, of course. Has, I think it's a control group, maybe 10 Zealots, I think, alongside 2 Archons. They can take on a Hydra army, mind you. They can take on a Hydra army as long as they get in close. But with those bridges there, it's not a very good position. The Lurker is going to come out there, start burrowing. He's going to try to engage. Does he have... I don't think he had an Observer there. He managed to pick off one Lurker before it burrowed. Now he just kind of fall back a little bit, try to take some of the pot shots, not to take too much damage. Fall back to the safety of a ramp, especially. Also going to Observer out there. He's going to need speed on those, I think. Going to try to engage on top of this ramp, try to get some shots on the Lurkers before they burrow down. Loses an Archon, though, trying to pick off a Lurker. More Zealots are going to be ready for him. I think there are a couple of High Templars, otherwise he's going to need Storm alongside. Should have Storm research by now. Hoping so for his sake anyway. 3 Lurkers and decent group of Hydras. Not really something Cal wants to engage. He has to be very careful to keep those High Templar in a safe position, though. You know, keep leaving them alone, just not good. Generally, really got to protect those High Templar, because if those Hydras manage to get in, pick them off, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. We're going to spot, though.